have Charu Pragya, spokesperson of BJP, as well as George Kurian, political analyst, joining us. Good morning to the both of you. Thank you for taking the time out and talking to us on Mirror Now. George Kurian, I'll come to you first. How do you view this high-handed behavior? Because like my colleague Aishwarya was pointing out, he was only doing his job, as a journalist, to report both sides of the story is what viewers need to know when you're breaking down a story to them. So how do you really read into the arrogance, number one, and the other aspect of it is to threaten a journalist who's only on his job?
Well, Nivedna, a very good morning to you and your viewers. I strongly condemn the reaction of Mr. Robert Vadra to begin with, because I strongly believe that, being a public figure and he needs to keep his momentum and cool and should not be so aggressive with when it comes to media, because Congress party as an ideological and a progressive narrative that it's trying to build up through the masses and through Bharat Jodo Yatra, this kind of event will really not go down well for the Congress party at large, because having said that, Robert Vadra is the husband of Priyanka Gandhi, and as we all know that Congress is trying its level best to build up the narrative with all the damage that it has done in the past or for the present at this point in time. And I strongly believe that the state government, which has a case against Robert Vadra for the illegitimate land deals as it's claimed, why doesn't the state go ahead and expedite the case and get it on high on board, so that one can come to a closure to the case? And it's not that post 2010 that it's Congress in the government in Rajasthan. Vasundhara Raje was from 2013 until 2018, but no cognizance was taken in the interest of the state. And so I strongly believe that it is just blowing out of proportion. If there is substance to the case, one should go ahead and expedite the case. Yeah.
All right, George, I'll come back to you, but let's, cut across to Charu Pragya also joining us on the broadcast. Charu, how do you view this particular behavior, number one? And also, concurrently, Rahul Gandhi also has spoken about freedom of press. And so at that particular time, when you're seeing this kind of behavior, how does BJP also read into it?
Good morning, Nivedna. And this incident only exposes the double speak done by most of the people in Congress party and Mr. Gandhi especially. So when they talk about freedom of speech, it is basically a one-way freedom of speech where Mr. Gandhi is allowed to say whatever he wants without any basis to his words, and many times he's also been pulled up by our courts and being made to apologize. At the same time, Mr. Vadra's behavior is atrocious. The plea to quash the case was rejected by the High Court. And whatever it is that the journalists were asking you, if you hear the language, they were very, very polite. They were calling him sir. They were saying, just answer one question, sir. And in return, see how he's walking around with the phone in hand, being very arrogant, being very angry, and especially when he's the one who's being investigated. So for doing their job, he threatens to sue journalists. I think that is extremely, extremely sad. It just shows the kind of mindset the Gandhi Vadra Parivar has, and he should apologize for it. In fact, Mr. Gandhi should also apologize for it.
Mr. Kurian, how do you look at that point? Because this is not actually the first time that Robert Vadra has had this kind of attitude towards journalists. It has happened in the past as well. So do you think an apology should be sought for? Because ultimately, a journalist's job is to only report the story.
Well, Nivedna, I would like to correct Charu there. See, we all agree that, we actually cannot predict, what state of mind a person is. And see, the media has all the right to question anybody in the country. But having said that, as we all know that the matter is sub judice, and it's for Robert Vadra to, whether he wants to answer it or not, he could have avoided the question politely, he could have moved on. But, this kind of behavior and bringing it to Rahul Gandhi, see, Rahul Gandhi is not answerable for Robert Vadra in the first place. So please don't get Rahul Gandhi into the entire controversy here. And I strongly believe that because Robert Vadra is associated with the Gandhi family, that doesn't mean that, the Gandhis are responsible for every act of Robert Vadra. But having said that, Robert Vadra could have avoided the scene and take it in a very in a soft manner and not being aggressive and polite. Because that will be better for the Congress party at large as well. And so this is what the entire scenario is. And I strongly believe that if the BJP is at the center, at the ruling dispensation, and they have all the state machinery and things like that. So if the matter really has substance in it, why don't they expedite the case and get it high on board and, get to the closure? Because see, it is very easy for the ruling dispensation to, because Robert Vadra is the soft target to corner the Congress party and the Gandhis at large. So this is the whole scenario.
All right, George Korean as well as Charu Pragya, I appreciate both of you for joining us on Mirror Now and giving us your viewpoint. All right, just before we wrap up, Charu, if you would want to make that quick point, we just have a couple of seconds left.
Thank you. Why is it that the Gandhis can bring everything down to Mr. Modi but refuse to take any account of any action done by themselves? And lastly, he could have simply said no comments, gotten into the car and left. He didn't have to create that drama.
All right. Okay, we'll continue to track all the reactions as well, but we'll have to wait how Congress also responds to this. But thank you, Charu Pragya, as well as George Korean, for joining me on the show. We'll, of course, continue to track that particular story, but let's move on to more stories that we're tracking at this hour.